So our day started at 2 in the morning. I woke up ready to make myself a cup of coffee while Becca got some extra sleep. We had about 30 minutes to get all packed up and head out the door.
Thankfully, we had all of our stuff packed up the night before, so all we had to do, or all Sean had to do, was load up our stuff, and then we were ready to go. Once we landed in San Francisco, we hopped into our rental car and went to the most iconic part of the city, which we all know is the Golden Gate Bridge. Honestly, this was probably my favorite part about the trip because the views were just insane.
Then it was time to grab a bite to eat because Becca was super hungry. Found this awesome little spot in Sausalito for some brunch. And then it was on to the black...
What John was trying to say was we made our way to this hidden gem called Black Sands Beach, which is right outside of Sausalito. On to day 2 of San Francisco, and we mainly just hung around the city. We planned our day at a coffee shop and then walked around a bit. The weather was honestly top tier.
So our first stop of the day was the Palace of Fine Arts. Honestly, not a whole lot to do here, but it was a great spot to hang out and enjoy the views.
And then we drove over to Lombard Street, which is basically just a really crooked street in the middle of San Francisco. This view doesn't really show it very well, but this picture on the right does. It was honestly kind of cool.
Best of all time. Just the goated brownies right there. That world famous hot fudge sundae from Ghirardelli itself. One bite, everybody knows the rules. It's good.
So good.
Yeah, I'd take Andy's.
And we completely forgot to vlog the end of that day, but we met up with a couple of my work friends, and then it was on to the next day for Big Sur.
So our first stop on Highway 1 was Point Lobos State Reserve. Honestly, I felt this place was super underrated. There was amazing views and wildlife all along the hike.
And the best part was we got there super early, so we had the whole park to ourselves basically. And then it was time to eat. This was my favorite brunch spot of the trip. It's called Cafe Cava, and 10 out of 10 recommend.
The views along Highway 1 were just simply incredible.
And then we drove down to McWay Falls, and this was the highlight of Big Sur in my opinion. Pro tip, the best views are outside of the park.
Becca started getting pretty car sick, so she started driving, and I started vibing. She took over the rest of the way through Big Sur and drove us all the way back to Sequoia.
And it was another early start to the day. We packed up our stuff from the hotel and then went to Sequoia National Park to see some of the largest trees in the world.
One of Sequoia's most iconic spots is the famous tunnel log. Got there early, made sure to have a little fun, and enjoy the view. Oh, neat. This here's a Sequoia. You can tell it's a Sequoia because of the way it is. Nice. Oh, snow.
And the next day we made it to our favorite park of the trip, Yosemite.
First hike here, the famous up Yosemite Falls. You see Becca getting warmed up for the hike? This one humbled us.
We're 1 hour in to the 7-8 hour hike. Already stopping for lunch one. What are you thinking so far?
My legs burn.
Yeah.
So
We'll be feeling it tonight.
Pay good money for these shoes to eat it up. Eat that water. This water don't mean none to me.
And after a tough 3.5 hours, we finally made it to the top.
And even though this staircase didn't have any railing, views of the canyon, still worth it.
And that was the end of day 1. Now we're on to day 2 of Yosemite. We did the Mist Trail, and this is my favorite hike of the trip, probably my favorite hike ever. There were rainbows and beautiful views. It's just iconic.
Well, we sprinted down to time to get some breakfast, just for breakfast to be over. But we did get to grab a couple Danishes and one banana, so it wasn't for nothing.
We would definitely recommend grabbing a pair of bikes to go see everything that Yosemite has to offer.
Ice cream break.
Maybe And then we geared up to hike Artist Point Trail. One of the most popular parts is Tunnel View at Yosemite, and usually at the main area it's fully packed, but on this trail we were the only ones there.
All checked out. Last day of Yosemite. Officially a wrap on Yosemite. It was fun, but it was tough. On to Lake Tahoe.
Check out Becca running over a rock.
So one thing that's kind of tradition on my family trips is we always buy my mom a pair of socks. So I found something that says Inside Sucks. She likes the outdoors. But there's another pair in here that says I love to fart. Long story short, one of our family trips, she farted a bunch, and now it's an inside joke forever.
And we made it to the last day of the trip. We started with a sunrise, then had brunch, and went on another hike.
To get to Secret Cove, we had to park on the side of the road, hike down this really steep embankment that got pretty sketchy at times, but again, to no one's surprise, the views were all worth it.
And we made it to the last hike of the trip to Bonsai Rock. It's bittersweet, but this trip is definitely going to be one to remember.